today. It's a little bit on purpose as it's the last one of this year. As usual, we start with the what's new and we talk a little bit about the highlights, but it should also be a little bit for you, this call, meaning if you have any kind of questions or whatever, we consider that in this user group call to make sure that all questions can be answered. And as well, we didn't invite on purpose any speaker for today due to that reason. So let's already start with what's new section. We have quite a few updates from the last time. First of all, if you haven't noticed, we renamed the Power BI dataset now to semantic model. As we just announced this renaming a few days ago, or now 2 weeks ago, and probably you will see at some points, at some user interfaces that it still says dataset, but we're working on it so that you really have one name calling it now semantic model. And as an example, just to show you that, if you publish now from the desktop a report to Power BI service, you will find obviously the report itself, but you see here already now the type is not dataset anymore, it's really semantic model. And same is true if I go to new, in there is no dataset anymore, it's a semantic model. So it's not a big change in the model itself or anything, it's really for now just a renaming. Any questions for that? As I have just one screen today, I need to look up here a little bit the chat. But yet, that's all right. One thing to note for those who are working with the Power BI REST APIs, nothing has changed there, so the APIs itself are still working. All right, going to the next one, we have a new button, a new slicer button, which is in public preview right now, and it will allow you to really modify it more than the, let's call it, old version. As you see in the screenshot, this is one possibility. So meaning you could have, for example, even pictures and even like a subtitle into your slicer setting, which makes it more, let's say, user-friendly and more sexier to use. How to use it? Pretty simple at the end. If I switch over here to a Power BI report, if I open here the menu of all the visuals, you see here in the slicer sections that we have now a new one, and it's indicated here with this little symbol, with the flash symbol over here. And as any other visual, you can just select it, and once selected, you can add field that you wish to slice on. Let's go with products, for example. And you see that it's a little bit different already. We have now like these tiles in here automatically. And usually you can always go to the format pane, and in there you can modify the look and feel of the visual itself. Any questions to that? Let me see here quickly the chat. No hands raised, no questions. I think also this is pretty. Hey, Dennis, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Sorry for the delay.
Everything good. We just started. I just had the second topic about the new button slicer, and just wanted to explain that, yeah, it's like any other visual, and as usual, you should just check out the formatting configuration that are available. And as you see, this is just an example what you can achieve. And we will also have updates on it in the upcoming weeks and months, so you can even do more. As an example, right now you have these tiles, but between slicer will also be there, and many more that you know from the older version as well. Moving on, we have now a new reference label possibility within the card visual. And as you see in the screenshot, let me make it a little bit bigger. It means that you can have, for example, your KPI over here, and you can create a reference below indicating if it's good or bad, so giving really context to the card itself. And this is also something which is doable pretty easy. Let me go back here to my report. Just going to use here, instead of the slicer, I use now again the new card visual or KPI visual. And if I select it, in there, once you go to the format pane, you have here the reference labels. Make it big, you see in the format pane under visuals, reference labels, and then you can decide what kind of label you wish to add. In my case, it obviously doesn't make sense because it's taking the product. So let me take, for example, something else. Let's go with sales product. And for the reference, let me go for, I have here a target. I can add it, and then you see the target is 34 million. I have 36 million, so it looks a little bit better. And obviously I can go in now and I can even configure the format of it as I wish. Also pretty nice, pretty handy. And this again, or as well, not again, this as well will have further updates in future so that you can even do more with it. And if you follow the LinkedIn link over here, you will find all the updates and announcements over there. Questions to that? Raised, no questions in the chat. I guess that's an okay. Moving on. As you saw, or hopefully also experienced, the desktop version had some quite updates in the last few months, especially when it comes to the pane settings. And with the latest version, you have now the possibility to have the pane or a new pane always open it up. This was disabled previously, meaning in my case, if I go back to desktop, probably you noticed before, let me delete the visual here. On the right-hand side, I have the panes that I'm used or that I use the most. And now if I click on a pane, it will open up automatically to the next one. Or if I click again, obviously it will close. And this is a setting that on one hand, you can go through view, and in the view ribbon, if you go to the pane switcher, you have here this option always open in a new pane. And if you turn it on, this is exactly what happens. If I turn it off, now it's not opening up a new pane, it's just replacing my existing one. And now if I wish to open a new one, I would need to right click on it and say opening new pane, then I would have it. And if you don't wish to have this experience, as mentioned, you can always go here to switch pane and just select this one. And if selected, every time you click on a new pane, it will be opened. On the other hand, you can also go to File, Options and Settings, Options. And in there, you will also have the possibility to turn this feature on. Let me quickly see where it exactly was in the report settings pane switcher. It was over here. Are report settings, and again, you have here this always show the pane, always open a new pane, this one. This is the right one. Right, questions to that? Nothing in the chat, no hands raised, all good. Let me move on with the next one. This one is a pretty cool one, I would say, because we updated the summary visual, now called narrative visual, and you can create now a narrative with Copilot. To be able to do that, you have to enable Copilot in your tenant, but once done, you can really create the summarization with Copilot in this case. And let me give you a quick glance how it looks like. Again, going here to my report. Let me smaller, yeah, resize it. If I go to home, if I go to the visuals, if I select now, where is it? There it is, the narrative visual. The first thing that I see is I have two options now. One, the new Copilot one, or custom. Custom is the same experience as we had before. It will create some kind of summarization for you, but you can customize it, add your own sentences to it, and so on. If you choose Copilot, in such a scenario, you cannot influence the text created. Meaning, let me show it. Let me show it first. Meaning, if I click on it, I again have like a window in which I can say what I wish to achieve. And per default, I have summarized the data. And what I can do is I can also take some suggestions from the top, which will be inserted into my text box over here. And I can also influence, do this summarization needs to be on the current page, or does it should be for every page? So I can select here, for example, my second page called sales order, and I can also select for which visual. And the beauty is if I hover over, it even shows me without a filter context. This is important. Without a filter context, it shows me the visual that it's represented. So I know exactly to what it is referencing. In my case, I'm good with the current page. This is okay. It should summarize the data. I say create. And now a text will be created. This takes usually, especially the first time, a few seconds to load, probably 10, 15 seconds. But once done, we'll have the summarization created by Copilot. There we are. And there are a few things to highlight. Let me show it like this. First of all, we have in a footer, it says created with AI. So it could be that there are incoherencies. So just that you know, we reference that if something is created with Copilot or with AI, that this is highlighted in the text. Next, we will always create like references so that you know from where this information is coming from. And if I hover over a reference or click on the reference, it will highlight exactly from which visual this is coming from, so that you really know, hey, from where are those insights? And lastly, this is what I mentioned in the beginning. If I now create my text through Copilot, I cannot click into the text anymore and influence it. So I cannot, for example, delete the last sentence or add a new sentence below or whatever, like you used to do before. So this is really just a given text. Obviously, the formatting of the visual itself can be influenced, but not the text itself. If I wish to have something else, I need to go through the prompt here and say, for example, make it shorter. Or I can write anything else, but you have to influence everything through the prompt here. And if I say now create one more time, this will take, as you saw, a few seconds again, and then we have a shorter summary. Or if I give a chance of the suggestions, I can just click, for example, give an executive summary. If I click that, this will be imported into the prompt. If I say create, again, a few seconds, and it will be created. There we are. Or if I go in, I can also say, for example, highlight the most important insight. Create. And after a few seconds, we have some highlights. Okay, he highlighted everything. It looks like everything is important. Let me probably do insight instead of insights. Probably this will change a little bit then. But this is the way, as you see, how you can use Copilot with the narrative visual. There we are. And this is what I tried to show. We have now really one sentence which is highlighted, And we have even a suggestion, meaning that the cost management can be improved or the pricing strategy has to be increased for its profitability. So we really also have some recommendation without even knowing or really understanding or really deep dive into the data set itself. I can everything do through the visual together with Copilot and get some really insightful insights here. Any questions for that? Everything is important. Yeah, that's true. Everything is important. It's a management summary. That's very true. All right. I don't see any further questions, any hand raised or whatever. So with that, let me switch back to my PowerPoint and move on then to the next one, which is the DAX query view, which is right now in public preview. So meaning in Power BI Desktop, instead of 3 views, you will have now a 4th one, which is the DAX query view, in which you can really directly within Power BI Desktop create your DAX statements. So let me show that. If I go back to Power BI Desktop, on the left-hand side, you see here now the DAX view. And if I open it, I can create now DAX statements here and really executing it. For example, in this case, it says top 100 of my table date. This doesn't make sense at all, but let me give it for, what should I go for? Let me go with product. And if I run it, we have an immediate result below showing me now the top 100, not top 100 by sales or whatever, just it went through the table and gives me 100 records back, showing me all the columns coming from my product table in this case. Obviously, I can do much more complex stuff in here and really execute it to see an immediate result, which helps me to do more stuff with desktop itself. Meaning, for those who worked with DAX Studio, for example, it's a great tool and for sure still in use, especially when it comes to optimization and analyzing and stuff like this. But if you just wish to quickly execute a DAX statement, there is probably no need anymore for a third-party tool like DAX Studio in this case. Besides that, what you can do as well is, depending a little bit on which item you click on, you will have a different kind of context. Let me show you. If I right-click again on the product table, I have here a quick queries menu or option. And if I select that, I can now again go and say, okay, show me top 100 rows. Not so interesting as we just saw that. So I select it and you see Power BI creates now an out-of-the-box DAX statement for me, which I can run. And I have the same result as before, just in a different way, meaning it goes with selecting columns, so selecting all the columns and says top 100 in this case in an ASC order, so ascending order in this case by product key. Just a little bit a different approach, but nevertheless, it gives me already the DAX statement. I do not have to create it on my own. Let's explore what else we can do. If I go again to quick queries, I can also select the second one, saying show column statistics. So if I do that, it runs automatically, as you see, and I get really some statistics about my tables, about my columns, meaning I have in here 397 different kind of values. Let me make it this way, it's a little bit easier. Sorry for that. In, for example, the product key, I have 397 distinct values. This makes absolutely sense because I need one key per product at the end. But I have 295 different products. So it looks like some of them are duplicated. Or it also shows me I have 10 colors, subcategories, and so on and so on. And if I scroll a little bit to the right, if it would work, there we are. I will see really different kind of information in here. So the first 25 percentile, the last 25 percentile, how many odds or even numbers I have, zeros, what is the standard deviation. I also have the mean, the maximum, the minimum, and stuff like this. So really a quick insight about the table. What else can we do? if I go to quick queries, I can also select define all measures in this table. In this case, I don't have any measures. So let me select, for example, the KPI table, go again to quick queries and say define all measures in this table. If I do so, it creates again a query and it shows me all the measures that I have here. Just two. One is called paginated report URL and the other one is selected fiscal year. And I can even see how it is created. And if I open it up, you see it's really true. I just have two measures in there. Lastly, I can also go in, regardless of which table I do that, I have always the possibility of saying define all measures in this model. So if I do that, a bit longer, but now I really have all the measures across all my tables defined in one place. And now it's pretty easy to Control F, so to search for different measures if you're looking for it. And you can really check out what is the value of it and how it is calculated and so on. So if I scroll up a little bit, you see here really everything is defined and I can really check out what is going on within the whole model, what kind of measures I have created and used. Quickly check. Do we have any kind of questions? Any hand raised? Anything I should explain further here?
I have a question.
Please.
Can you also edit the measures there, or you still need to edit them the old way?
You can also edit it over here. And if I go and say define and evaluate, or let me put it that way. If I go into the selected fiscal year, for example, and quick queries and say evaluate, it will just evaluate my whole query at the end. So nothing really special. But if I go in here and say quick queries and say define and evaluate, so the define at the beginning, it will show me how the measure is defined. So pretty cool. And in here, I can now go in and really also update it. So instead of, I don't know, say fiscal year, I can say something else like the fiscal quarter or whatever. I can run it. And now I'm more or less testing it. Okay, it's getting now an error because it doesn't make any sense what I updated here, but this would be more or less how it could be done. Lastly, I have as well define with references and evaluate. And if I click on this, I will have all the references within my definition as well on top. Because in my case, I don't have that. There is no big difference between the second and the third option, but it would be a possibility to update it and having the full references here as well. When it comes at the end to update at one single place and roll it over across all the measures, I think this is something we have on the roadmap. I'm not sure if it's there yet, haven't tested it, but this is for sure something coming if it's not already available. Does it help? Does it answer the question?
Yes, really cool. Thank you.
Sure. Anything else? Right, doesn't look like. So what I can recommend is really check out this link over here where we announced the DAX view. This is a really deep dive into it, showing you all the possibilities. I just scratch a little bit the surface here that you get a feeling of what is possible. But at the end, this will also be updated in the upcoming weeks and months, and it will be enhanced therefore. Going further, we have something completely new in Power BI Service, which we call Explore. So it's really a new item like a report or the semantic model. And the whole purpose of this is imagine you have a data set or now semantic model, or you have a report and you just want to quickly have a look into it. So instead of creating a full-blown report, you just want to quickly create something which you can, I don't know, take a screenshot for your PowerPoint presentation or whatever. This is the purpose of the Explore item. And how to do it is following. If I go to Power BI Service, on a report or data set, regardless if I go here or to the report, I will have as a first option the new Explore this data option. If I select that, a new window will pop up, and in here it's connected to my data set, so I see all the tables on the right-hand side. And what I can do now is, let me do, for example, KPIs, and I say revenue. And from my, let me go by city. Let me take, province for now. All right, always good if it doesn't work. Detail. All right, not sure why it's not showing up. Is my, okay, my semantic model hasn't refreshed. So let me take another one, sorry for that. Let me take a standard report. Here, explore again. Time, we tried from here, and let's go for city, and now there we are. As you see, I'm just selecting on the right-hand side my columns, measures, whatever, and I have already a matrix quickly showing me based on my selection how it looks like. And obviously, I can also select multiple things. Below, I can influence a little bit the matrix. So what should be on the rows, what should be on the columns. Let me put, for example, territory on the rows. So this way I can already influence it a little bit, and I can also create hierarchies, as you see, like in Power BI desktop or in the service. If I wish, I can also sort it. So I can specify the sorting at the top. I can drill down and up if I wish to do that, if I enabled it in my matrix visual. Further, I can also select here visual, and then Power BI gives me a visualization based on the selection before. And here as well, I can also influence the visualization type. So I have more or less the out-of-the-box visuals that are available in desktop as well, with a few exceptions right now. And custom visuals will also be supported. Nearly, I see get more visuals already. So this wasn't there a few days ago. Probably it's already supported. Let me check that live. This would be cool. Let me go for the word cloud. There we are. Add. Okay, perfect. This wasn't supported 3 days ago. I'm super happy that it's supporting now. Okay, so even custom visuals can now be imported here as well, and you can do your quick analysis based on such kind of visuals. If you don't like the split, you can also influence the split by going here at the top right. Instead of the horizontally, you can split it vertically, and there you are. There is no option now to add more visuals or to split it in 4 different kind of splits or whatever. It's really just a simple base exploration of your data. But if you wish to filter it, we have the option of doing so. As you see here, add filter. I can go in and say, okay, my data based on sales territory, I wish to filter it down. So selecting everything but not NA and not external, for example. And once selected, you see in the backend, it already filtered those 2 things out. Or if I filter out far west as well, you see it's gone. There we are. I can also add another filter. So right now, let me filter down by province in this case. So everything but not Arizona and not Colorado, for example. So this is also a way how you can filter or add multiple filters on top. Once you're done, you can easily share it as you would do with a report, for example. You can also open a new tab, as you see, but you can also save it. So in here, if I click the Save button, this will be saved as an Explore item. So this is my Explore. For example, I can select the workspace. So in this case, selecting Fabric Playground and hitting save. It could be, yeah, my Fabric is not running. That's the reason why I'm getting an error. But this would be the way to save it. Or you can also select here the little arrow and save it as a report. So if you wish to really create a report out of it, no issue at all, just go to this option. It will be saved then on as a report on top, which you can obviously edit and influence further. Any questions for that? No hands raised, no questions? Right? Just to highlight that one more time, it's really, as the name says, exploration. It's not a full-blown reporting tool. Imagine it as if you would just pivot quickly your data in Excel. This is the more or less the idea of this functionality. One of the last things when it comes to latest and greatest for today is Copilot is finally public preview, meaning everyone who has Power BI Premium P1 and above, or Fabric F64 or above, can now enable Copilot in the tenant. There are a few things to consider before you can start. First of all, as mentioned, Copilot needs to be enabled, as well as the Azure OpenAI service. This is as well a tenant setting within Power BI. Once this is enabled, the next thing is we are rolling this feature out right now. And the rolling out can take time, meaning it can be that you still don't see it until end of March. The reason is we're rolling out in batches so that not all customers at once get access to it, but just, let's say, in buckets, we're rolling it out. And right now, it's every 2 weeks, a new bucket of customers will get enabled. And starting from 8th of January, it will be on a weekly update. Meaning if you're interested in enabling it right away and you wish to use it right away, feel free to reach out to me and we can try to put you in an earlier bucket so that you get it. One of the requirements at the end is that you're really going to activate it and use it within the next few days once activated. But I guess if you're interested in that, shouldn't be an issue. And how does it look like? Let me show that quickly in my Microsoft environment, meaning I'm here again in a workspace and I go for my standard report, or let me go with a blank one. So if I select my standard Guy report semantic model, as you know, hopefully you can go in here and say, I'll create a blank report. If I click the button Explore, I would open now the new Explore feature that we just talked about a few seconds ago. In my case, I go and create really a blank one. And now I have Copilot at the top. And if I select that, Copilot will give me some hints how to start. So I can say suggest content for this page, or I can say create a page that shows ... Meaning if I select that, it gives me the same sentence in the prompt below, which I can then now extend with what I'm looking for. So for example, create a page that shows me the most important insights as an example. And if I hit enter, Copilot is working on it, as you see. Let me close a little bit here the panes. Again, the first time it takes always a little bit longer so that the connection behind the scene is happening. But once done, you see, I already got a page, which is nice and handy. I'd say filters at the top for sales territory and the year. And I have some insights already just by writing one sentence in this case. And because it's a report, obviously I can select filtering, drill down. If drill down would be enabled, is for sure there. The top right, I don't like it because it's a pie chart, and hopefully you know, never use pie charts. So let me try to replace that. Obviously, I can go in and just with the visualization type here, I can select something else, and I'm already updated it. Or let me try it with Copilot. Please update top right visual to a matrix as an example. Must admit, first time doing it, so hopefully it will work. And once Copilot is ready, we will see hopefully an update. And if something doesn't work, we will also get a reply from Copilot, something like, didn't recognize it, or did you mean something else, or whatever. Takes really a little bit longer than expected. Let's wait until Copilot finishes. Always a good time for asking questions if you have any. Chat here. Yes, Dennis.
Yeah, I have another question. Can you say anything about the licensing about Copilot?
Right now, as it is in public preview, there is no additional costs included, or let me say, the Copilot itself is included in your license, but you require Premium P1 or above, or you also need, instead of Premium, you would need Fabric capacity F64 or above. These are the two things that you require. A Fabric trial license do not work, neither a Power BI embedded. So it has to be either the Premium or the Fabric F64 capacity.
And do you know later if it would be possible to get the Copilot also for a lower capacity?
I don't see any signs for that, but I cannot neither decline or confirm, as I really do not know. I see discussions going on, but I'm not sure what the product group will decide. So this is something we have to wait at the end to have a final decision there. Make sense? I'll take that as a yes. Looks like we got a possible summary instead of a top right visual, which is also nice and handy, not really what we're looking for. At the end, this is something that I always tell, Copilot is not here to replace anybody. It's really here to support you. And sometimes the support is not as wished. So it just shows that we're still in the lead, still having the control of what should be done. And this is, I think, the most important message of this Copilot topic at the end. And sometimes it's even faster, just as you saw. If I wish to change, I just change it manually instead of working with Copilot in this case. Nevertheless, very useful. I could also go on and say, for example, create a second page with a summary of my sales for summary of my sales. And if I do that, Power BI will recognize it, really create a second page for me, and I can go on and do further visualizations, further analysis of my report at the end. Okay, while this is loading, any further questions? Okay, gonna check that. All right. There we are. It created a sales summary page, as we see now, a little bit with KPIs now at the top. I must admit, it looks pretty similar, but nevertheless, it created one. And I also have an undo button. If I don't wish to have this page anymore, I can do that. Or I can click here, redo, meaning it will redo the work and creating a slightly different solution for my case. All right, if there are no further questions, let me open up PowerPoint one more time. There we are. As mentioned, this was the last from the latest and greatest, and now we're heading a little bit to the highlights. And my personal highlights, just to share that with you, is for sure Microsoft Fabric. I must admit, the Fabric itself, even if it's general available, is not there yet what we're promising, that's for sure. Still some features missing, still a little bit probably unstable, but we're definitely heading into the right direction with the unified experience, having everything in one place and so on. So I think this is really a big step looking into the future. And with Fabric, we introduced a direct lake mode. Hopefully everyone is aware of it. This is really a big game changer from my point of view, especially when it comes to performance of big data at the end. And the new user group logo, I like it very much. Kudos again to Dominic here. I know he's in the call, at least he was. Kudos.
Thank you, Kristian.
I really, really like it. And with that, I don't know, Dennis, do you wish to share as well some your personal highlights?
Yeah, I was a little short on time, so I didn't prepare a nice slide like this. But for me, it was definitely the direct lake mode. And of course, also the new logo. I like it also a lot. I'm happy this one won. And for me, also the developer mode is one of the very big highlights, because this brings Power BI for me to an enterprise level. And before, you always had the questions like, how do I deploy? And this is like, you know, like an amateurish approach. But the developer mode for me is one of the best things that happened since many, many years, together with the direct lake and our user group logo.
Fair point with the developer mode. Fair point. All right. As mentioned, we just wanted to share that there is no speaker invited for today, so we want to open it up for you guys. Do you have any kind of questions, anything you wish to share with us, anything we should be aware? Feel free to unmute yourself and share. It's like everyone is shy, Dennis.
It's the end of the year. Everyone is busy going to Christmas markets, buying gifts. Run,
or getting gifts.
I would say. Or getting gifts. Doing gifts to yourself.
Right. I mean, if there are really no questions, then probably as a last reminder, the community itself, as you know, runs on a monthly basis. I will update the Outlook invite. If you wish to get an Outlook invite again, feel free to reach out to me. I can put you into the distribution list. The community runs on a monthly basis, as mentioned, from 4 to 6 p.m. So this time, Swiss time. The next one won't happen on the first Thursday. It will happen on the second one, because we assume that a lot of you guys will be on vacation. So probably doesn't make sense to put it on the first one. Therefore, the next call will happen on the 11th of January. And it will be again online, and the topics will be defined. So if you have any suggestions, wish to present or whatever, feel free to reach out to us. Happy to include you. And with that, thank you very much for attending today's call. It's a little bit shorter than usually, but it was really intended as it was end of year, and we wanted to give you the chance to ask questions. So one more time, if you have anything, feel free to raise it. Let me check out one last time. Chat. Don't see anything here, Dennis. Looks like everyone is really tired of the year. Everyone wants to go to vacation, right?
Seems to be the case.
Yes. All right, then let me close for today already. Thank you very much for attending. Wishing you all a nice holiday season, nice whatever, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you have, whatever you're going to celebrate. And hopefully we will see us next year again. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Same to you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.